Hey there, everybody. Welcome to our morning edition of Big Brother 22 All-Stars Live Feed Spoilers. This is Lucky Day 13.
Yay!
Maybe there is some good luck for Janelle and Kaysar. If you are a fan of them, they might have a tiny glimmer of hope, question mark, for the future.
Maybe.
We'll talk about that, the state of the game entering the veto ceremony today. But before we go any further, if you do like this video, give us a like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. We have all sorts of updates coming throughout the day. And if you do want to support us more, check those links in the description. We have the store where you can get a shirt kind of like this one, and also our Patreon. We have live chats there, also a number of other benefits well worth checking out.
Okay, so who wants to maybe possibly work with Janelle and Kaysar? It is Davon. It is Bailey. And this would be a really great foursome. We know that Davon and Bailey have spoke to Cody and Enzo, and they kind of had something going, but it just doesn't feel like that's really being nurtured and that the four of them are really that close going forward. Bailey has wanted to work with Janelle. She's put that out there. She likes her. So I've been hoping that it was gonna, Davon may come around to it, and the conversations are happening.
Big Brother, I think, is really a lot about options, and you want to feel wanted. You don't want to feel like you are necessarily like the third, fourth, or fifth option for someone. And I think Bailey and Davon are sort of starting to realize that people like Cody and Enzo, they've got a lot of other options. They've got a lot of different people that they can sort of work with, and Janelle and Kaysar, they really just need people. And I think that if Bailey and Davon can get over there and maybe find another way to get like one more number, that they could basically be in control of that alliance. And maybe, they run maybe a greater risk if it gets exposed, but I think they have more potential to go further into the game.
Yeah, they are way sort of higher up in the alliance because this Memphis Blob alliance is like 6 people and then Davon and Bailey. So they are really far down the list in this. So this is a good move if they can really, feel it out and trust each other. And I think both pairs need to work together at this point. I think they're both kind of realizing it.
Here is the problem. It's that I think that Bailey and Davon, they want to work with Janelle and Kaysar, but I don't think that they're going to sort of stick their neck out so far as to like win the next HOH and then try to protect Janelle and Kaysar, because then they're sort of exposed. I think it's more of a, if we are there at the end, like let's say it's an endurance and it's Janelle and Davon, maybe Davon will have a dramatic fall off of the metaphorical pirate ship.
Yeah, and I could actually see them doing something like that in this next HOH if they really can solidify this, where if they see Janelle's about to win, I mean, Janelle's not coming after them. They have nothing to worry about, and they know it.
And I think it probably also helps that if Janelle and Kaysar get into power, I think Kaysar especially, he's really about, okay, I gotta try to find a way to target some of these dudes that are in there. Like, they've sort of determined that, Nicole F is dangerous, but Cody may be more dangerous, which I kind of get, because I think Nicole F's going to have a harder time winning the game, and I think Cody is a much more dangerous person to win at the end, at least right now.
Oh, absolutely. I think Nicole F is going to have a very hard time winning again, because it would be then the only 2-time winner, and we've been kind of saying it a while,
Yeah.
like, Ian and Nicole F need to go to the end together if they want to win, or they have to play a perfect game, and right now Nicole F has not played a perfect game.
So here is the other sort of struggle that I think Janelle and Kaysar have here, is that they're trying to build numbers for the future. Like, I don't even necessarily think this is just about this week, but it's like, okay, what other allies can we get? But then when you sort of look around the house, there's not a lot of other really great options that they can fully wholeheartedly trust.
No, I mean, unless they really know who those core 6 are, to try to maybe grab some of the people that are sort of, they're part of it, but they're not really part of it. I mean, there's not a lot of people that are really there, because a lot of the people that are sort of on the outside of this alliance think that they're part of this alliance.
Like, one of these sort of people that Janelle and Kaysar had this illusion that, okay, we can get this person. It's Christmas, and they've had conversations with Christmas, but then overnight Christmas just goes and tells Tyler about some of this sort of stuff, and so Tyler's kind of aware that they're trying to loop in Christmas.
The thing that I found the most interesting about that, though, is that Christmas and Tyler, at least of this recording, have kept that information to themselves. And the fact that they've done that and they're not sharing it with the whole Blob Alliance tells me that they can still be worked with, possibly, because if they're not sharing it with everyone and they're the duo kind of being like, all right, we have this information, if we need it a little bit later and they want to work with us, cool, we might entertain that. That's what that feels like.
It is crazy to me that more people are not sort of fully aware of the Christmas and Tyler duo. They're one of the strongest duos in the house, and I don't even think I need to go full tinfoil hat on this, because if I was in the game and I was a well-studied player, I would sort of think, okay, I know that Casey was kind of maybe going to be on the season. I know that Josh was kind of maybe going to be on the season. Casey and Josh were on the challenge together. They seem to have some sort of bond. I would at least consider the idea that there was a 4-person pregame alliance with Christmas and Tyler as a part of it. I would suspect more that they are very, very close. I don't know why people aren't thinking enough about this, but maybe I'm thinking too much about this.
Well, it's also kind of strange because in that first week, it seemed like a lot of people didn't really know a lot about other people's games. People didn't know each other's names. Like, people didn't study very well going in.
I know Kaysar is not exactly the most well-versed Big Brother player this season. He thought that Paul had the greatest confessionals of all time. So I love Kaysar, but I think his read on some stuff is a little bit off, to say the least.
And speaking of bad reads, so Janelle and Kaysar have tried to talk to Ian about joining them, sort of feeling it out a little bit. That's a no. He actually exposed something that I was really shocked that he exposed, which is that he's very close with Nicole F.
He basically compared his relationship to Nicole F to Janelle and Kaysar's relationship, and I was really, really surprised he did this.
Very surprised.
It's kind of wild. Like, Ian, though, is a Big Brother player because he's a little bit of a wild card. He'll say these things that I don't think anyone expects, but because he says them, I think it makes people trust him that he's, like, being really, really straight up.
Yeah, I mean, it has worked for him in the past. So, I mean, but then again, now it's, okay, Janelle and Kaysar know that he's basically with the other side of the house. Because if he's with Nicole F, then there's that. But I think it's going to end up biting him. He did try to backtrack it a little bit. It's too late. It's out there.
Yeah, you can't walk it back now, Ian.
No,
this is not one of your space plays. This
you
is
can't
not just
put the
acting.
toothpaste back in the tube. It's
No,
over.
I wish we had more idioms for this because we could keep going for a while.
That's
but,
right.
Ultimately, maybe it's something where in the middle of the game, if Nicole F does go, there could be something there. It doesn't seem like Ian fully, wrote it off entirely. But the real sort of message here of everything Janelle and Kaysar have done is that maybe they've got a couple more potential allies, but at the same time, I think they're pretty well aware that if the nominations stay the same, which 99% of the time, well, at least this time, they're going to stay the same, Nicole Anthony is probably screwed.
Yeah, and I mean, Davon has told Kaysar that she's not voting David out and that she can't do that. So I think Janelle and Kaysar have realized that saving Nicole Anthony is kind of just out of the realm of what they're able to do. They just don't have the votes.
And when you're in this position at this point, I know it is only Monday. I know things can change a lot from Monday to Thursday. We've seen this a lot, but I think ultimately they need to look at this now as a situation where it's not their responsibility. Like, they can only try to help Nicole Anthony so much, and she has not exactly reciprocated on a lot of the help that they have tried to give her. And if they are trying to work with Davon and Bailey, and Davon's made it clear, I'm not getting rid of David, the more that they push something, the more that they run the risk of not having Davon and Bailey moving forward.
I just wish, and I mean, it's still early, that David wasn't so like close with some of the bros in the house, because if they could bring David over, that's a great 5-person alliance that can start to really do some damage in the house.
And that's totally been talked about. This is something that Devon and Kaysar even had a conversation about, but sort of the problem with all of this is that Kaysar believes that they don't really have David, and so he's hesitant to sort of go through with it. That's sort of a big problem right now.
Kaysar's got to just start trusting people besides Janelle. He's really kind of got himself into a bubble where he's not really willing to just put himself out there. And I get it. This game can really mess with your head, so you get really paranoid and you don't want to trust anybody, but he has to do it or they're not going to make it.
Speaking of the game messing with people's heads, we do have to talk about the state of things for Nicole Anthony, who had a particularly rough night where if she wasn't like this the whole night, she did get a little bit better, but for a little bit of time, she kind of questioned whether or not she made a mistake coming back. She sort of felt really, really bad if she did stay over David. She should have just left on this past season and left this game on a high note, and she's clearly not enjoying herself at the moment on this season.
No, she is having a hard time. She doesn't know who to trust. She's trusting the wrong people that want to help her. She's not taking their help. She doesn't trust them. She is being her own worst enemy and getting in front of herself. I was really excited to have her back. I'm still happy that she came back. I know that she's questioning it. I'm glad she came back. I had just wished that she had come back a little more confident, because after she left the house and she was out there and doing her podcasting, you could see the confidence building in her. And I was like, oh man, if she comes back into the house with that, she's got a better read on things. Like, this is going to be really fun. And she didn't come back in with that confidence. You could even see on premiere night, she was really nervous about stuff. And I think it's all just gotten in her head. She's just had such a bad read on stuff that she's just sunk her own game.
Hey, at least she recognizes that Janelle and Kaysar have been kind of trying to fight to save her at this point, so maybe she'll talk a little bit less about nominating them if she wins HOH.
It won't matter. It's all Janelle's fault all the time.
Did you guys know that Janelle was actually responsible for the failed BB takeover twist from many seasons ago?
Yeah.
Did you know that Janelle introduced the coup d'etat and gave it to Big Jeff and subsequently changed that? No, we could do this bit for a long time as well.
That's because Janelle's been a scapegoat for so much this season. It's only 13 days in.
Yeah. Okay. Well, one other thing I should have mentioned about Tyler and Christmas earlier is that Tyler has caught Danny in some lies, and also it seems as though the two of them, Christmas and Tyler, are very well aware that Memphis will be the first person from his own Blob Alliance that gets evicted because of all of his shenanigans.
Absolutely, and we kind of talked about that a little bit, that it's sort of like the Devin and the Bomb Squad, that as soon as Devin went off the rails and started waking people up in the middle of the night and kicking them out of the Alliance, he went very quickly after. And it makes sense if you have someone in your Alliance that's not really working with you, and they're working against you in a lot of ways. As soon as they get rid of Memphis, if it's possible anymore, that group of 5 can come together, but it might be too late. I mean, things are shifting now with Devon and Bailey kind of maybe entertaining the other side. They could bring David away from there. They're realizing that, people are lying. We kind of have that fracturing a bit where we have Tyler and Christmas together. We have Enzo and Cody together. Danny's kind of now floating a little bit on her own. She's got, Nicole F a little bit, but Nicole F is entertaining everything. It is fracturing.
Devil horns time. Okay. This is what I want to see over the next couple days.
All right.
I don't know if Nicole Anthony can save herself at this point, but people are going to get bored. And what happens when people get bored is they start letting their paranoia take over. I am hoping that we're going to have some big shifts because people are going to catch each other in lies. They're going to overthink things. I want pure chaos so that on Thursday nobody really knows what any given HOH is going to do. Let's make it happen, big brother.
That'd be all right. And it could happen because that big alliance is catching each other in lies.
All right. Well, what do you guys think about the idea of Janelle, Kaysar, Bailey, Devon working together, How do you think these next few days are going to play out? Let us know in the comments. And if you do like this video, give us a like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. And if you want to support us more, check the links in the description to the store, to our Patreon, and we'll see you here next time.